Hello, I'm speaking to you from Argentina, a faraway country that has suffered far more than benefited from the New World Order Leviathan and its global power politics. Some of you may have read my articles in English at www.asalbuchi, that's asalbuchi.com.ar, and some of you may have watched my videos on YouTube and elsewhere addressing three major subjects: the global financial meltdown and what to do, why Obama is not the man to put things right, and the coming world government, whether we should accept it or resist it, and why. To understand what is going on in the New World Order, we need to understand how the power elite operates, what are its objectives, goals, and motivations, where are they taking us, and very important, who they are. Only then can we begin to understand what all of this really means. We've said it before, things are not what they seem. The wool has been pulled over our eyes. We need to awaken, otherwise life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness will soon be gone from the United States, from Europe, from Argentina, from Latin America, from the world over. The New World Order power elite steps very hard on all of us. They want to make you think that it's the people who decide, that it's economic law that governs markets and its crises. They even want to make you think that it's Adam Smith's invisible hand that calls the shots on markets, on trends, on styles, on stock markets, on foreign exchange, on the rankings of companies, even in culture. They will let you know that, they will make you think that the market says which are the best sellers, which are the hits, even in culture. It's always the invisible hand of the market. Now I ask you, have you ever seen an invisible hand? And if it were made visible, have you ever seen the hand floating in space? I haven't. I can't even imagine one. Because you see, it's not the hand that counts, it's the muscular arm that wields it. It's the muscular arm that moves the hand. And above that, it's the powerful brain that controls the arm. Now that's the question. Only when we understand these things can we begin to fathom what the 20th century was all about. We have seen 100 years of wonderful technological prowess and scientific leaps, but we have also seen tragic, gigantic strides backwards through hideously bloody wars that have left 150 million people dead, people's minds deranged, people's health and well-being demolished, the destinies of millions upon millions blown away like a ship smashing against rocks during a monster storm. The maps of countries have been redrawn, some countries have been made to disappear, others have been imposed by force, people have been displaced, hunger, illness, violence, death, perversions of all sorts, destruction of the environment, mass robbery of people's savings, pensions, livelihoods, jobs. Yes, indeed, the evil one seems to have been let loose for quite a while. And the 21st century, we seem to continue on the same path to destruction. And we now run the risk of derailing Western civilization at least, of being dragged to the edge and falling into a deep crevice from which there will be no return. So let's open our eyes, let's open our ears, our minds, and our hearts. I say this because I want to address today with you a very sensitive and tricky subject that is nonetheless vital if we are to fully grasp what on earth is going on. I know that many of you will be put off by what I'm about to say. Nevertheless, this subject must be addressed in a balanced, honest, and dispassionate way. Yes, it's the Z word, Zionism. Why? Because Zionism is a force that has to be reckoned with, and yet there is so much confusion over the subject and how it is used and misused that I feel that it's engineered confusion. Highly charged emotional words are being used that have been misappropriated and are being misused for very specific political ends. You see, words are power. Words are weapons. Words can be missiles. Words can be friendly fire against the other guy, or they can be enemy fire to kill ideas. Words are one of the axes of psychological operations and psychological warfare. Words are power. Let me mention 4 words. Zionism is one of these words. Anti-Semitism is another of these words. Discrimination is yet another. And yes, even Holocaust is so powerful that it has now taken up theological overtones. So let's go one at a time. Zionism. Zionism wields huge power in the United States of America, in Europe, in Argentina, in the global power structures. You see, Zionism is a political ideology, so why should it concern us? Because it is represented by very small groups of people wielding gigantic parts of power. And too much power in too few hands is dangerous, because it's anti-democratic and can end up stifling life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So first of all, before we even take this one step forward, we have to make a clear distinction amongst four key categories. First of all, the Jewish people, an ethnic group with roots going back many millennia. Today it is a very small, I would even say a tiny community. 16 million people, 16 million Jews out of a total global population of 6.7 billion people. That's 0.2% of the population. That is the Jewish community spread throughout the world. Second category, the Jewish religion, more than 5,700 years old. Theologically, it's non-intrusive, it's not evangelical. They never want to convert you. They don't bother anybody. And I believe that in the 21st century, to discriminate somebody on account of their religion is unacceptable, is totally stupid, and cannot even be considered. So discrimination against any religion is totally out of the question. Third category, Zionism, a nationalistic, ethnic, political ideology founded at the end of the 19th century, notably by Leon Pinsker, by Theodor Herzl, a Viennese lawyer, Ginsburg, and a few others, and financed by the Rothschilds, the Warburgs, the Schiffs, the Hirsch, and many others. It is the territorial, shall we say, the territorial counterpart of Zionism today is the State of Israel. One very important thing that I will say several times: not all Jews are Zionists, not all Zionists are Jews. Fourth category, the State of Israel, a foreign country, at least from my point of view, with specific interests and objectives that was created in 1948 and since then has been permanently at war. We cannot speak of independence of the State of Israel. Independence from whom? From Britain? They weren't even supposed to be there. Basically, it was imposed upon Palestine, displacing and slaughtering several million of the Palestinians. In a way, the State of Israel is the practical manifestation of Zionism. Zionism has been organized for over a century now around very powerful, highly financed organizations, NGOs, lobbies, power groups, both national and international. To name a few: the Jewish Agency in London, the World Jewish Congress, the World Zionist Congress, the American Jewish Congress, the American Jewish Committee, the B'nai B'rith Masonic Lodge, the Anti-Defamation League, AIPAC, the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee, JINZA, in my country, Argentina, AMIA, DAIA, OSA, the Project for a New American Century in the United States. They all operate as a very powerful, close-knit network, wielding tremendous power for the benefit of the worldwide Zionist movement and of the State of Israel. And they also interact on a much wider scale with the powerful New World Order organizations, the CFR, Council on Foreign Relations, the American Enterprise Group, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group, the Royal Institute of International Affairs in London, Project for a New American Century. In other words, the entire banking, industrial, media, finance, political, military, academic infrastructure of the New World Order. In March 2006, two academics, Stephen Walt, who was the dean of the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University, and John Mearsheimer, who was in charge of the political studies group at the Chicago University, published a very important book called The Israel Lobby and U.S. Foreign Policy. It is a very well documented book that every American, every person all the world over should read, because it shows, with very, very detailed referencing, the excessive power of various Zionist organizations, notably AIPAC, the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee, and other organizations that have succeeded through coercing, forcing, even threatening, through the media, government officers, diplomats, academics, the military. They have succeeded in making U.S. foreign policy place the national interest of Israel over the national interest of the United States of America. I insist, not all Jews are Zionists, not all Zionists are Jews.